What we're seeing here is a realization that this is a serious issue. I think people are beginning to understand that they've got important things on their computers, they've got important things on the internet, they have important data on the cloud, and those are increasingly vulnerable. And I think up until a few years ago, only a few Cassandras and naysayers were saying, this is all dangerous, you're vulnerable, bad things can happen, and there are bad people looking, to get this information or worse. We've had in the last few years a lot of attention, a lot of noteworthy hacks. We had the Office of Personnel Management, where millions of Americans whose information was with the government was hacked. Anthem, Target, Sony, gotten a lot of attention. So people, I think, realize there's a vulnerability, and the media story, I think, is catching up with reality. I think there are a couple of different things happening. One is that even more information is going into the network, onto the internet. Our society is going more and more digital. So the scope of the problem is increasing. So it's good that I think we're getting more attention. We're going to be using machines for our homes. We're going to be using machines to drive our cars. We may be using machines even to fly our airplanes. So think of the bad things that can happen if someone in fact gets the ability to hack into one of those networks. We've had this year, the Obama administration has promulgated a national action plan, has a number of different components. It wants to increase awareness of this issue. It has formed a commission to develop best practices. It's improving the cybersecurity of the federal government, which incidentally is probably the weakest link in terms of where data is stored. So there are a lot of things going on. The government is paying attention. I actually think the private sector in many ways, or at least parts of the private sector, are well ahead of the government. So I think this is a situation where we're trying to bring all the different players together and get everybody at least to a base level of protection. That's going to be helpful for, I think, many of the threats, but there are going to be certain persistent threats, certain threats from very powerful hacking forces that are going to require, I think, even more intervention by our government, at a sort of a sovereign or quasi-sovereign level to really deal with these threats. It's not simply a technical issue. You can't say our chief information officer and the IT staff is going to deal with it. You really need to understand that the vulnerabilities are more often than not the result of weaknesses, weak links in the technology itself, but on the fact that the users really don't understand that they, when they are inadvertently inviting hackers in, when they're compromising the network. Do they understand that if they're giving out their data, making it available through social media or other sources for potential hackers to be able to access their networks, their personal accounts? Do they understand that if they click on links or on attachments of emails from people that they're not expecting, or if they've been phished by someone who's appearing to be someone that they know? So I think there are a lot of different things that we need to do, but I think the first issue is at the highest level in each company, at the client, they have to understand that this is a holistic approach. They need direction from the top level, from the C-suite, from the board, from senior management, and they have to set the example. They have to direct everyone in the organization to take this seriously and to take appropriate precautions.